Are you living your life like the main character or more like a background extra? Are your choices your own or just reactions to other people's needs, rules, and timelines? You might have a job, a schedule, even a good plan, but are you living your story or just appearing in someone else's? If your life feels like it's on autopilot, this video might help you take the wheel back. Or you could be just an NPC. We all know the type. They move through life like they're running a script. No agency, no curiosity, no spark. Just following directions someone else wrote. In gaming, they call them NPCs, or non-playable characters. They look like they're alive, but they're not really in the game. Main character energy isn't about ego. It's about waking up. And if that idea resonates, you might already be halfway there. Welcome back to Thinking and Being. If you like what you see today, please be sure to like and subscribe, as this will enable you to see more content from myself and others just like this. And as I've said before, my pledge to you is to try to make each video 1% better so you can enjoy these videos more and more. What's new in the studio? Well, I've got a new editing laptop. So those skips you heard in the last video that were caused by the lag between my video and my audio when I was in the editing software. It's weird. Won't happen again. So you won't have any more skips and weird edits. I'm also exploring new microphones, as this one tends to crackle towards the beginning of the video. So,
hello? Anybody home?
if you're hearing some crackling, it needs time to warm up. It's kind of a cheap mic. My bad. I'm doing what I can. But I'm also just starting, so all this is just fine. It doesn't matter. You got to do it. You got to get through it. So why this particular topic? Lately, I've noticed something in the conversations around me. Friends, coworkers, strangers, they keep saying things like, I had to do it, or I guess I'm just stuck, or it's what's expected of me. And it got me thinking, what if they're not living as the main character in their own story? We throw that term around now, main character energy, but what does it actually mean? Why do some people radiate it, while others seem stuck in NPC mode or permanently cast as a supporting character? This video is about defining that difference, and more importantly, showing how to get from where you are to where main character version of you already knows where to go. Because main characters, they dream, they believe in arcs, and they don't just exist, they live. So the first main idea I want to talk about is the definition of main character energy, both philosophically and culturally. What is a main character? A main character isn't the loudest person in the room. They're not always most attractive or successful or even chosen. The main character is the one who owns the arc. They have direction. They reflect. They struggle. They choose. Even when they fall apart, they do it with awareness. Being the main character means living with agency, knowing you're shaping the story, not just reacting to it. Why does that matter? Because without main characters, there's no story. There's just motion, just existence, just loops. Main characters give narrative to the mess. Next, let's talk about supporting characters and the myth of selfishness. Here's a trap: thinking that being the main character makes you selfish. It doesn't. In fact, supporting others is often a main character move when you choose it with intention. The difference is agency. Main characters act out of conscious values, not guilt, obligation, or fear of judgment. Agency means knowing why you do what you do and owning the ripple effects. You can be the rock of your family, the glue in your friend group, the mentor in someone else's movie, and still be the author of your own arc. If you followed my last series on physics and consciousness, you'll remember this. At the quantum level, reality isn't fixed. It responds to observation. In other words, consciousness plays a role in collapsing possibility into reality. That sounds abstract, until you realize we already talk like this. He's just an NPC. She's got main character energy. None of this feels real. It's not just slang, it's modern mythology about agency, awareness, and narrative. And if we are in a simulation, or even just in some kind of system that we are having trouble overcoming, then becoming the main character is how you stop running on someone else's code. Now, addressing some of the philosophical aspects of main character energy, Jean Paul Sartre was a French philosopher, playwright, novelist, screenwriter, and political activist from the 1900s. And he said, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself." To him, we aren't born with a role. We're thrown into the world, free, but also fully responsible for choosing our identity. That's main character energy. But most people reject that responsibility. They wait for a script, a label, a safe path, which I'm guilty of. And that's how NPCs are born, not by design, but by avoidance. Sartre's challenge is uncomfortable. You have no excuse not to become the protagonist. Next, let's talk about Camus and the absurd hero. Albert Camus, a French philosopher, author, dramatist, journalist, and activist, believed that life has no built in meaning. It's random, unfair, absurd. And that's exactly why we should live like main characters. His hero, Sisyphus, is condemned to push a rock up a hill forever. But Camus says we must imagine Sisyphus happy, because the act of living intentionally, even when it's hard, that's the rebellion. That's the point. Main characters don't wait for the world to make sense. They create rhythm inside chaos. Next, let's talk about Descartes and the inner witness. René Descartes, a French philosopher, scientist, and mathematician from the 1600s, said, "I think, therefore I am." That's the original main character moment. He argued that the only thing he could truly prove was that he was conscious, that he was aware of his awareness. A philosophical zombie might go through the motions, but a main character knows they're alive. They monologue, they reflect, they question their arc. They aren't just present in the world, they're present in themselves. And then Plato, who of course was an ancient Greek philosopher from around 400 BC. In Plato's allegory, prisoners are chained in a cave, watching shadows on a wall, believing that's all there is. Then one person turns around. They see the fire, they see the real world, and they climb out. And it blinds them until it transforms them. That's the main character, the one who dares to break the illusion, even if no one else believes them, even if the others call them crazy. That's the price of the arc. And real quick, one of the things I do in my videos is promote others' products. And of course, I'm not getting paid for these promotions, but I figure it's good karma. It might be something that you really like or find really useful, and it's great practice for when this channel gets monetized, which, if I'm being a main character, I have to believe that this channel will in the future. And the product I want to promote today is Peet's Coffee. This is coffee that I drink almost every day. I've been buying it actually for years. The main reasons I like it is because it's not bitter like some popular coffee out there that everyone goes to quite often. When I brew this at home, I save tons of money relative to going out to get my coffee. And three, the dark roast flavors are really, really good. I like them the best. In particular, I like their house blend, I like their French roast, and I like their Major Dickinson's blend. I'll leave a link in the description below for this coffee. You can't be a main character without good coffee, without good caffeine. And this stuff, I really like it, and it tastes great. And I think you're really going to like it too. Okay, back to the video. The second main idea I want to talk about is why many people struggle to be the main character. Being the main character sounds appealing until you realize it comes with pressure. You have to make decisions, not just follow orders. You can't blame the plot, you're writing it. You have to dream and risk disappointment. So most people retreat. They become supporting characters in other people's arcs, or worse, NPCs. Comfort is seductive. Agency, it can be terrifying. But if you don't claim authorship, someone or something else will. So here's how people tend to get stuck. They wait for permission. They avoid discomfort. They follow what others do. They suppress dreams. They stay distracted. They feel unfulfilled, and they repeat. This is an NPC loop, a self-reinforcing system that kills momentum and numbs curiosity. It's not that people lack ambition. It's that the system trains passivity over authorship. Later, we'll talk about how to break this. But first, let's explore the ideas that explain why this loop exists for many of us. First, we need to talk about Zizek's three orders and being trapped in the symbolic. Slavoj Zizek, a Slovenian philosopher and cultural theorist, describes three orders that we live in: the imaginary, our internal stories, fantasies, and self image; the symbolic, external roles, norms, scripts, and society; and the real, the raw, messy, unfiltered truth. Most people live entirely in the symbolic. They identify with their job title, cultural role, or relationship status. They aren't acting out their story. They're performing a script written by others. Main character energy, that's what happens when someone steps out of the symbolic and starts writing from the real. Next, let's address Heidegger and the fear of thrownness. Martin Heidegger, a German philosopher known for contributions in phenomenology, hermeneutics, and existentialism, said, "We're all thrown into the world. We didn't choose our parents, our language, our time period, or our body, but we're responsible for how we stand up within it. That's called authenticity, and it's rare." And I have another video about being authentic, for which I'll put a link in the description below, so you can check that out. People avoid the main character role because they resent how and where they were thrown. So instead of claiming their time on stage, they hide in roles, distractions, and shoulds. The main character doesn't deny the thrownness. They build their arc on top of it. Next, let's talk about Hannah Arendt and the danger of passivity. Hannah Arendt, a German and American historian, political theorist, and philosopher, wrote about the banality of evil, how terrible things happen not because of monsters, but because of normal people who follow orders, people who don't question, people who refuse authorship, people who let systems act through them. Being a main character isn't just a self-help idea, it's a moral act. If no one claims responsibility, then we leave the world to institutions, algorithms, and autopilot. And then there's Nietzsche and the will to power. Friedrich Nietzsche, a German philosopher from the 1800s, in his Will to Power, writes not about domination, but it's about self-overcoming. The main character isn't someone who conquers others. It's someone who keeps rewriting themselves, becoming stronger, clearer, weirder, truer. NPCs avoid change. Main characters initiate transformation, even when it costs them comfort. To Nietzsche, that's what makes life worth living. And then finally, there's the zombie thought experiments and the empty shell. Ever feel like someone's there, but not really there? That's not just an internet meme, it's a serious philosophical idea. A philosophical zombie is a thought experiment. Imagine a being that's physically identical to a human. It talks like us, reacts like us, even cries out if hurt, but has no inner experience. It doesn't feel pain. It sees red, but doesn't experience redness. It has no qualia, no subjective what it's like to be alive. This experiment exists to probe the hard problem of consciousness. Can brain activity alone account for experience? Or is something non physical, like awareness itself, required? Now, here's where it hits home. Most people today live on autopilot. They scroll, they react, they echo scripts. But are they really experiencing their lives? That's the scary part. You don't have to be fictional to be a philosophical zombie. You just have to stop noticing your own existence. Main character energy is the antidote. It's what happens when someone wakes up in their own story and says, "This is real. I'm here, and I'm going to act like it." And sometimes we all feel like an NPC or a zombie. Take myself. Sometimes I think I'm crushing it with main character energy. But then I look back at the footage and realize I'm basically just an NPC in action figure skin. Okay, one of the other things I do in my videos is promote other people's YouTube channels and content. And today I want to promote friendsofbigbearvalley.org. I do this because it's good karma and I'm inspired by all these great YouTube content creators and channels, and so I want to give them the credit that they deserve. This is different than those I promoted before. This is actually a live stream of nature itself. And this channel is great because it follows the main characters of Jackie and Shadow, two bald eagle parents, in their nest in Big Bear, California, 145 feet up in a Jeffrey pine tree. And the awesomeness of this is that they recently had two babies. Their names are Gizmo and Sunny. They're the ones who appear to be darker colored, not the traditional colors of eagles. These two kids love to be on camera, and they're growing up very fast and are actually right now getting ready to leave the nest or fledge and be their own main characters in their story. And you can see them practicing. You can see them sitting on branches and flapping their wings and feeling the branch go up and down, and they're just getting the feel for the air, but they haven't left the nest yet. So you have to go check them out soon. You can also watch the parents bring home food and feed Sunny and Gizmo, but just watching all these eagles just be in nature and leaving it up while I'm doing other work is very relaxing and very interesting. So I'll leave a link to the channel as well as to their website where you can actually donate to this awesome cause. All right, back to this video. The next main idea I want to talk about is how to reclaim main character energy. The first move I would say is noticing the script. You can't change what you're not aware of. Step one in reclaiming main character energy is to pause and notice. Whose goals are you chasing? What beliefs are you playing out? Who benefits from your current autopilot? You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to wake up in the middle of the scene and realize this isn't really your script. Awareness isn't the end, but it's always where the rewrite begins. And let's rewrite that loop to a better system. Here's the causal loop that you want to live in. Having a vision. What does the main character version of you want? Reflection. Where are you now, honestly? Intentional action. Do something aligned with the arc that you want. Feedback. What happened? Adjust. Reinforcement. Anchor progress into identity. This is actually a form of a cybernetic loop, a system that steers itself through awareness, not force. Replace reaction with reflection. Replace default with design. Do this once and it's a reset. Do it daily and it's a new character arc. Use micro habits to shift identity. You don't become the main character by declaration. You become one by proving it to yourself over time. Try this. Say no once a day to something unaligned. Journal 3 sentences every morning about what you want. Take 10 minutes to act on a personal dream before doing anything productive. These aren't life overhauls, they're identity pivots. Main character energy doesn't come from being loud, it comes from doing something real without needing permission. And dreaming can be thought of as one of the most radical things that you can do. Here's something people forget. Main characters dream. They imagine better outcomes. They feel worthy of growth. They see things before they exist. If you've stopped dreaming, you've already started fading into the background. Dreaming isn't childish, it's how consciousness rehearses better futures. The arc starts in the mind, then collapses into reality when you act like it's already begun. And start living like you matter. Main character energy is not about ego. It's about showing up in the world like your presence has weight. Make bold choices. Say meaningful things. Support others with intention. Build rituals around your vision. If the day feels repetitive, change something. If your life feels disconnected, reconnect with the part of you that wants more. NPCs wait for cues. Main characters enter and see themselves in the center of the scene. And it's also good to know when it's not your scene. Main character energy isn't about dominating the frame and sucking up all the energy in the room. It's about awareness of the moment, the story, and your place in it. There will be times when you're not the focus, when someone else is stepping into their arc, when your role is to support, reflect, or simply witness. That doesn't make you less important. It means you understand the rhythm of real life. Stories are fluid, and being the main character also means knowing when to hand the camera off for a beat and trust that your next scene is still coming. The point isn't always to shine. Sometimes the point is just to stay awake and aware. And finally, you're already in the story. Here's the truth no one tells you. You're already the main character. You've just been cast in a role, perhaps, that you didn't choose, or given lines that weren't yours. You don't have to start over. You just have to turn the camera and choose what the next act looks like. The arc isn't linear. It's made in real time, and the next scene is still being written. Well, thanks for watching today. As there are often a lot of thoughts out there and a lot of different answers to all these different philosophical questions, go ahead and comment and tell us all what you think or what we need to know. about this topic? Is there anything I missed? My 3 key takeaways are: wake up in your own story. You're already in it. And stop acting like an extra in the background. Next, dream, direct, repeat. Main characters live on purpose and keep the arc moving. And you're not too late. The scene isn't over. Your rewrite starts whenever you want. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe, as it will keep content like this coming your way. And it's my goal to make this content entertaining and funny, enlightening and educational, as well as a little bit nostalgic. Stay tuned, as we're going to talk about a lot of different topics that affect your thinking and your being. But until then, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.